Hey there, and welcome back to another drawing video. Finally, I have started the Majin Vegeta. Now, jumping straight into things, I've not drawn from start to scratch for quite a while. So this one took me a little longer than expected to do. But instead of like the other videos being broken up into two, where we have a sketch and then the inking and the coloring, this is going to be start to finish. So sketch to ink, right to the end. Well, coloring, you know what I mean. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the full version. Now, the first sketch of this took me, we had some technical issues there. As you probably saw in the video, I'm flipping around some kind of back panel. That's the back panel to my light. So I had to stop recording, but I carried on drawing, hence the quick clips there of what I was doing off screen. So I just took some photos of them and just moved straight onto the inking pretty much. So unfortunately, I don't have footage for the sketching, so I do apologize for that. But I do have footage of the rest of it. Thank God for that. So the inking this time around, instead of using my Copic multi-liners, I did decide to give my Microns a try. They are the, let me find the box, hold on a second. There we go, the Micron manga set. They come in a pack of 3, a 1, 5, and 8. So the millimeters for those is a 0.25, 0.45, and a 0.5. So I believe for these ones I used the 5, which is a 0.45, slightly smaller than what I use normally, but I liked it, to be honest. It was really nice. I kind of expect it to be nice because I was using the same size as I was doing. I have heard a lot of good things about these pigma Microns. They are waterproof and permanent, so very, very, very nice to use. I would highly recommend them to anyone who doesn't want to drop the extortionate amount that the Copics are. I think I paid about £2.95 for these. So, and that's for 3 pens, and that's really good value, to be honest. And yeah, they're a great starting place, and I might grab more of these actually once my Copics have run out. I didn't really notice too much of a difference between the 0.5 millimeters in both of them, like the Copics to the pigma Micron. So yeah, they're pretty identical really. It's just the feel of the pen is slightly different, but in performance they perform both the same, to be fair. And that sketch, that inking came out really well. So you can see I've switched back to the Copic for this one, just so I can feel the difference between the two of them. Now, the main reason I wanted to use, not so much to feel the difference, sorry, is because I needed a really thin pen. And I thought going with the 0.25 millimeters was going to be a little bit too thin from the Micron, so I decided to go with the slightly 0.3 I used from the Copic. And it turned out really well, really well. And yeah, I really do like how the inking came out on this one. So much so I was really excited to actually get into coloring. So the coloring part of this video, we've got the sketching and the inking done really quickly. I didn't really want to go too quick on the coloring. This one had me scratching my head for a while because from the original scene, you know, with Vegeta's being taken over by Babidi, there is a lot of red sparks going around. So how am I going to do this? I don't have pencils. I need pencils. So I can lay them, but I think I made it work. I think. So my process here, as you can probably see, after inking Vegeta himself, very basic, I went in with the pencil, as you probably saw, and sort of like sketched out where I wanted these red bits of energy like arcing around Vegeta. And rather than just rubbing them out, because I did use a 0.3 H lead, it meant I could go really light and not worry about having to rub it out, because the alcohol would pretty much, I don't want to say dissolve it in a way, but it covered it over. I didn't need to worry about that too much. And yeah, I really do like the red going around him. So trying to get this blue took me ages to do, because I just wanted to be really careful. I didn't want the blue bleeding in with the red, even though it was going to happen. It was inevitable. I am using, as you probably noticed, this is not the Winsor & Newton marker paper. I have gone back to trying out the Ohuhu sketch paper, or the marker paper, which is extremely thick, and I don't have much practice in dealing with it. So the colors, oh my god, this paper just absorbs the color. It just, you guys ever, dunked a McVitie's digestive biscuit in their cup of tea, and you pour the biscuit out and your tea's gone because it's just drunk your tea for you. That's a super biscuit, by the way. Yeah, this is what this paper's like with these pens. It just absorbs it, which, to be fair, is not a bad thing, because I noticed while going through this, I did touch the red quite a bit, but because the paper was really absorbent, it just like it's like, yeah, give me that ink. So it didn't really have much time to sit on the paper and bleed like with the Winsor & Newton stuff, because that is really thin paper and it has a wax back to it. I found the ink was, it could pool in some cases. If you put too much ink on there, you can make pools of ink and it blend really easily. With this, as you can see, even with the second layer with Vegeta's blue gi, I want to call it that, spandex, whatever you want to call it, you can still see stroke lines, whereas if I'd done that on the Winsor & Newton, it would be pretty well distributed. You wouldn't get any more. With this, I feel like maybe a third layer may have been in order. After I've put this shadow down, I figured, well, if I'm going to layer the shadow as well, it might just give me the results that I'm after. So there is that. I have said in the past with the Winsor & Newton that it is very friendly to beginners in working with alcohol markers, and I still stand by that. This is dealing with cards that's absorbing all your ink. It was a challenge. You got to work really quick. You've got to work quick, otherwise you could end up getting lots of streaks, and in worst case scenarios you get sort of lines, really heavy lines in your artwork that you can't kind of get rid of. I mean, you probably could over a period of time, but then they're probably end up damaging the paper more than anything at the end of it. So moving on, colors. I think I got spot on. I think I've got the colors spot on for this one. I did use I had my swatch in front of me, and thankfully, touch wood, none of them have faded yet. These are the brush markers I'm using from Ohuhu once again. And yeah, I think it's the first time I've actually used the brush markers exclusively, because in the past I've mixed the brush ones with the chisel ones, whereas this time I've gone with just the brush markers, seeing if I can get in there with some fine detail, because this is probably my first time actually doing a really small image. This is A4 I'm using, and I've not used A4 since I did the really large Boo, which didn't really require any fine detail on it because it was a close-up of Boo's face, whereas this one, it doesn't look like there's a lot of detail in here, but when you're trying to layer different colors in the red and the blue, you've got to be really careful. And yeah, and my wrist was not liking this at all in the slightest, but I got there in the end. And when I finished with the blue, I was like, I'm quite happy with that. I'm really happy with that. And although the colors that I've got from the brush markers aren't the same as the color selection I got is not the same as the chisels, I think some of these colors that I've used are fine. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what colors you use as long as you're having fun. It really doesn't have to be like for like. At the end of the day, it's all just me trying to draw the characters that I like and hopefully learn a thing or two about it. And I feel like I've learned a lot since I first started this drawing venture of mine. My only one gripe with this, I'm looking at it now, that forearm muscle of Vegeta's. It's too small. It should have gone further around the glove a little bit more. So it just like a lump on his arm there. This is really bugging me. But I didn't notice it until I'd finished it. I was like, ah, damn it. Because I am trying to, because obviously those of you that have been watching know that I'm taking sort of scenes from the anime and then trying to replicate them myself in some way or another. And I've been trying to only use those once. So once I've done my sketch, that's it. I abandon the screenshot that I've taken and then try and replicate the inking and then the cutter from memory. And hopefully that will build up more confidence in myself, being able to draw these characters and how to structure them properly. And yeah, I'm getting there slowly. It's a slow process, because after when I finished this and went back to the original from the show, I noticed that there were a few bits that I kind of got wrong proportion wise, i.e. that forearm. I missed the definition in the shoulder, bringing just an extra line round. So yeah, there are a few flaws in it, but I think when you sort of realize what those flaws were, it gives you an opportunity to sort of learn from them and just be a bit more vigilant on, you know, where those details are. Now, I made a huge cock up here by putting grey over the yellow, but I put yellow over the grey, and bloody hell, it actually improved it a lot. I was like, oh, that's such. I don't have that color in my selection of pens. So actually laying the grey down first and then putting a yellow over the top of it actually got me a color I don't own and work really well. Like, I wonder if I could use that technique elsewhere. So I don't actually do it anymore in the rest of this piece, because it's only just that little bit I wanted to, but it gave me ideas for later on down the line for, you know, creating a shade. And you can use that technique in digital art as well, rather than sort of looking for a darker shade of a color. So if you've got a light blue and you want to add a shadow to it, rather than finding a darker blue, you layer grey over the top of it and drop the opacity down, and that gives you a nice shadow effect without having to look for a darker color. It's a little trick there for you digital artists. So it's like, but yeah, the same kind of works with you know, alcohol markers as well. Moving on to the highlights, I went a little bit mad with the highlights here. I was just I was just enjoying it so much. I just went a little bit mad, and yeah, I need to look at other gel pens, because these ones I've got, they're not great. This, as you can see, that I'm going over it quite a bit. I'm trying to get that white out. It's just not working the way it did when I first got it. I don't know if it's because it's dried out or not, but yeah, I need to look at other ones. But I think I got there though in the end. I do like that, although it didn't come out as heavy as I'd liked it to. It's subtle. Outer glow on Vegeta, and that's not there on the original. I just felt like it needed it, and I really like it, to be fair. Now, this is the aura, going back to my trying to do the auras video. I started this and completely forgot about everything that I sort of learned doing that video. So it's like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to wing it. So I was able to wing it because I had started with the first part of it really quite small little bits of aura, but then going back in and extending those pointed bits, you know, it kind of fixed it. And then with the pencil in there as well, I feel like it's just kind of added to it a little bit. You know, it feels like it's got a little bit more movement to it than it would do just being like a block color. So to finish things off, because I'm actually really happy with how the aura looked, I go back in with the red and just add some, you know, sort of looks like energy just sort of just moving around Vegeta a bit more, just trying to give that a bit more movement feel to it. And I'm just didn't think I'd be able to pull anything like this off. to be fair. I really did. I'm really happy on how this came out. Especially on the cards. There's a huge difference on the end result from the Winsor & Newton to the card from Ohuhu. It really does look like it's a printed, almost feels like it's a printed piece of card, whereas on the Winsor & Newton one, they look flat for whatever reason. I don't know, just look really flat, whereas the card just sort of gives a really nice finish to it. I don't know why that is, it just does. So there you have it, ladies and gents. This is my Majin Vegeta, who's just been started to be mind controlled by Babadi in sketch, inked, and color. I'm gonna say it's my favorite piece so far. I'm probably going to. This one's going up on the wall. There's no doubt about it. This one's going on the wall. I'm really happy how that came out with just comparing the sketch with the color one. You know, the sketch one wasn't perfect. I wasn't particularly happy with it, but I was happy that I got the pose right. There was just a bit of a section on the arm was just a little bit too far out. So it made his arm look longer than it should be, and the left leg as well. So his left leg, arm right, is just a little bit wonky as well. But it's what I like about doing a series, is that when I do a sketch and then go into the inking and color, it gives me an opportunity to do a few of those corrections instead of going into the sketch, rubbing it out, and then correcting it. This gives me a really nice sort of like progress of slow improvement, essentially. But if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be back with another one next week, where I'm not quite sure which one I'm doing next, to be honest. It will definitely be probably be a close-up, maybe. There's probably gonna be quite a few close-ups of Majin Vegeta and Goku, you know, just duking it out and whatnot. There's a few technical ones in there that I want to try. There's a couple of fight scenes in there that are quite blurry from the anime that I want to try and hopefully put detail into them, maybe, or make them bigger. We will see. So that's what I've got planned coming up. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up or thumbs down if you liked it or disliked it, whichever you feel is appropriate. My name's Zerg, and I will catch you guys next time. Stay awesome, go create something great. Bye for now.